Sorry. Good morning.
It is a good morning. Nice and sunny. It's not snow on the ground. It's not below freezing. Being from Mississippi, I always appreciate that fact. My job this morning is to cover, I guess, part of the first objective. Although I'm going to generically talk about the chiropractic program, but it's really the things that I'm going to talk about are really amenable to all the other programs, the naturopathy as well as the acupuncture or mental programs as well. I want to talk about the whys and the hows and all of that sort of thing. What roles you guys will play, and hopefully will help in directing us in developing electives that are germane to producing these BETs, the CATs, and all that sort of all the other different acronyms that we have up here. Okay, that didn't work. There we go. Strong offense. So when you think of a strong offense, I'm sure, Gerald, you can appreciate this, right? Green Bay Packer fan. You know, I have to put the Bears on there, at least in the picture anyway. Strong offense. So we have one here. You know, we have to recognize the different players in our scheme at National. You know, who is the quarterback, who is on the offensive line, who are the receivers and the running backs and all that sort of thing. You guys will have to decide where you're going to come into the offensive nature of our scheme at National. But we have to start somewhere. Who's going to lead the charge? Typically, when we're talking about programs, obviously the assistant deans are the ones who will make the decisions whether an elective is germane or relevant to the program's goals and missions and that sort of thing. So that's where it starts, quarterbacking. And then the ultimate quarterback, obviously, is the president. He makes the final decision. He's the one that signs off on, is this particular course going to be allowed to be taught in the institution. All right, there we go. There we go. Let's talk about benefits of CAM evidence. I'm going to cover each one of those subjects one by one as far as institutional, curriculum, accreditation, and professional. So let's start with, oh God, it's going crazy. Very sensitive. Institution. Let's start with that. I think it's one slide before. There we go. First question we have to ask ourselves, will the elective support the mission of the institution? That's where it all starts. When all of the accrediting bodies come onto our campus, the first thing they ask, relative to anything, are we meeting our mission? That's where it all starts. And so, can we answer that question? Particularly relative to our mission and where the electives fall into place, I've just picked out certain aspects of the mission that support what we're doing today. And those are highlighted there as we value being progressive, knowledgeable, adaptable, original, and academically sound in our academic programs. So hopefully the electives that we develop will support that particular part of the mission. We value progress achieved by the development of new knowledge. New knowledge is the new courses that will come onto line as far as the elective goes, right? And its importance to chiropractic medicine and other complementary health arts. So those are the particular items that we have to focus on when developing. Louder? Okay. Secondly, in regard to the institution, another question we have to ask, does it support the National's institutional goals? And again, I highlighted two that were specifically related to the subject that we're talking about today, developing electives. The third institutional goal states by 2015 to continue expansion of educational program diversity. And I believe that's apropos, don't you, regarding this subject. And institutional goal number 4 by 2015 to strengthen our position as a recognized dynamic leader in education and research, germane to the primary care, whole health healing role of natural medicine physicians and other health care providers. Again, I think that is apropos. So as far as the institution is concerned, we must make sure that the electives are addressing our mission and also supporting our institutional goals. So keep that in mind whenever you're developing your electives. As far as the curriculum goes, many of you, as far as clinicians, you're familiar with these competencies. These are proposed competencies right now. We have 9 that are actually that are active at this point, but it's proposed that we move to these competencies. And in developing electives, we have to ensure that we are developing competencies or electives that will support these competencies. And we have to make sure that we're able to assess the competencies once we have identified them. Any questions? I don't want this to be a monologue, so to speak. I mean, I'm open to questions and feedback. If I totally confuse you, if this is something new, and these new competencies, are relatively new. They're taken from the medical side as far as the graduate medical education aspect of their assessment program. So we're just stealing what they've already done. We're trying to incorporate that into our institution at this point in time. Yes, sir.
Just looking at this list, are there some that are better supported by the type of electives we're talking about today, or all, or these 7 here?
It all depends on the electives. The topic, you know, you can develop topics for courses that will address one, more, or all of these. So patient care, whether it's a new technique, whether it's a diagnostic procedure, whether it's a, for instance, I'll just use Dr. Anderson, for example. He's proposing a evidence-based nutrition course to be taught. So where would that fall in as far as competencies goes? So he's obviously going to address medical knowledge, patient care, and maybe systems-based practice, practice-based learning and improvement, interpersonal skills. All of those would probably be germane to what he will propose in his new course. Accreditation, that bad word. Now, we're probably sick of the accrediting bodies by now, but it's necessary evil. As far as chiropractic is concerned, if you have not or you are not familiar with the new competencies that have just gone into effect as of January 1, you can go to cce-usa.org and you can get the full document relative to the new standards. And the new competencies that are in effect are just those that are listed there. Assessment and diagnosis, management plan, health promotion, disease prevention, communication and record keeping, professional ethics and jurisprudence, information technology literacy, intellectual and professional development. You see some common threads from the competencies that I presented in the previous slide versus these competencies. I've actually done some mapping, some early mapping of the CCE's competencies and our proposed competencies, and so that's going to be something ongoing. But relative to developing the electives going forward, this is something that I will consider in approving electives, whether or not they are meeting these particular competencies. If they're not meeting the competencies, it's less likely, one or more of these competencies, less likely that it will be approved by me anyway. All right?
Johnson.
Yes, sir.
Are these the same competencies that we utilized with the curriculum committee over the last year?
No, sir.
I see. So I think we should probably.
These are smack brand new from CCE, January 1, 2012.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. So jump on this for even this trimester to upgrade our syllabi, because these competencies are listed in our syllabi.
We have, don't get these confused, the CCE competence with the institutional competence.
I see. That's where I went wrong.
Those are two different ones.
Okay.
Okay. So I have to just ensure that these competencies are being addressed in the program.
I understand.
You know, and the competencies in the previous slides are just proposed; they have not been officially approved. So that's why it has not gone through the channel of the curriculum committee as of yet.
Okay, thank you.
And as far as addressing the syllabi and all that, that will come later.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
But that's certainly an important point to keep in mind, that we must address that as we go forward. Okay. Any questions relative to accreditation, the new competencies?
Just a quick comment. I think the BEP and CAT and these other electives that are being discussed here fit nicely with the new ones that you're proposing to the institution, and also these, especially intellectual and professional development, information and technology literacy, health promotion, disease prevention.
Yeah, notice that the asterisks next to the information and technology literacy, intellectual and professional development. Those I just highlighted because that's important to what we're discussing today. I think that developing electives in this workshop, they're formally looking at those particular competencies. So that's why I highlighted them. Oh, I don't know if this is the right slide or not. Okay, I did. As far as the profession, what are some of the benefits? Obviously, electives, once developed, will support what we do, when to do it, why we're doing what we're doing, and the how. It answers those questions for us, as well as our core curriculum. Hopefully, it'll support the hows, whens, why, and what's. Licensing boards, examining boards. I get inquiries all of the time. I'm sure other system deans get inquiries from the licensing boards all the time about, are you teaching this? Are you assessing this particular topic? How in depth are you teaching the topic? Usually asking the question because they have one particular practitioner in their state that's doing something kind of squirrely, and they want to know if this is actually something that's being supported at the institution. So we can answer those questions by saying either yay or nay. And we get that quite a bit. I get questions usually about once a month from a state organization, from some type of licensing board. Hopefully it's not one of our practitioners in trouble. But, or just a couple of weeks ago, I got an inquiry from a lawyer asking about do we teach concussion, assessment of concussion, and what textbooks do you use, and all that sort of thing. So if we can provide viable, supported courses that support what our practitioners are doing out in the field, then it obviously enhances how we look as far as professional support. Because outside agencies are looking toward national all the time. Not just licensing boards, but legislative entities as well. So this is another benefit. All right, we're going to look at benefits of developing evidence through NUHS. What are the benefits? Just right offhand, anybody have any ideas based on those particular categories from the institutional standpoint, from the curriculum, accreditation, profession? You're going to be tested at the end of this presentation, by the way.
Better performing interns.
Better performing interns. We all like to hear that, right? Better enrollment, maybe enhancing enrollment if our course offerings are more diverse and germane to what they want to do out in the field. And hopefully, you know, I was thinking about this yesterday. When students start selecting electives, what are they looking for? You know, they've gone through the core curriculum, so obviously they're going to be looking for something that is going to support what they're going to do in practice, right? More than what they've gotten already. So that's another consideration when you're doing electives or creating electives. Make sure that it's something that, you know, obviously you're going to have a threshold number of students to be enrolled in the course. So you want it to be inviting to your prospective audiences. Okay.
Dr. Johnson, I think another one is that it helps our main curriculum as well, because all that new information eventually gets put into our curriculum, I've noticed. So it helps our regular curriculum in terms of adding new information and getting rid of some old.
Yeah, I agree. All right, from the institutional point of view, if we've developed the electives the way we want, mission accomplished. We're supporting our mission, in other words. Oh, very straightforward and easy. Mission and goals, by the way. From the curricular standpoint, hopefully, you know, we want to do a great job in our core curriculum, but we understand we cannot teach everything, okay? And one of the, when I did a query and I asked all the clinicians to give me feedback relative to what interns they don't know, what do you think they should be doing, that's going to be helpful as well in deciding what electives we need. Now, sometimes we just can't get it all in the main curriculum. We try to, but the nature of the beast is that we're not built like the medical schools. You know, we have to cram a lot of information into our students in a short period of time, and hopefully they will be clinically ready. That's our hopes. But, you know, sometimes we're falling short, and we're trying to beef up areas that we need to beef up. So I'm doing the process now, identifying those areas that we're falling short, and hopefully by the time they reach the clinic, that can be that product that you guys all want them to be. Okay. So information that is not provided in our core curriculum will be provided for through the electives. That's the hope. So when I'm looking at electives and you guys are submitting proposals for additional elective courses, that's one of the primary issues I'm going to be looking at. It can't be something that's redundant or offered in our core curriculum already. I want something new, fresh, or at least taking off where the core curriculum course left off. That's important. Don't you think? Yeah. Okay. So make sure I'm going in the right direction. Accreditation, again, that bad word comes up a lot. Support the elective, support of the CCE standards, and I highlighted ASTRE mission planning and assessment, educational program for GCP, scholarship and research. So the electives that we're developing will hopefully support those particular items relative to the CCE. And I just highlighted before, mission planning assessment. The competencies, CCE wants us to, the big buzzword nowadays in all the credits bodies, whether it's chiropractic, naturopathy, IOM, is assessment. And the competencies. We have to identify where the competencies are taught, and not only where they're taught, but where they are assessed. So that's my job. That's why I asked for you guys to help out. Going through a process of curriculum mapping this year, where I will identify where the competencies are taught and where they are assessed. You know, that's a big project, but it has to be done. And I'm going to, you may get emails from me asking for your assistance. So I can't do this by myself. I'll ask, as far as particular course managers, I'll ask you, are you teaching this competency or identify the competency relative to that list? You may say yay or nay, and are you assessing the competency? That's going to be a big project, but hopefully by the end of the summer, I will have that all mapped out. And I'll share that with you guys. I won't keep it hidden. Just like I plan to share your feedback from the query that I did a month ago relative to when I asked clinicians, you know, where are the interns falling short and what information do you eventually need? That report will be coming back soon as well. Again, a reference for you, you can go to the cce-usa.org to see what the new standards are, and I encourage those of you who are involved in the DCP to go to the site, download. It's in a PDF or Word file. It's a quick download, and read it from cover to cover. The new standards are pretty straightforward. They're more straightforward than the previous ones. They're not as wordy. So I think it's, but you should be aware of what's in there. On the professional side, benefits. Again, they're coming to us. They're looking for, from outside of this institution, from the professional point of view. We have practitioners. We have all kinds of individuals coming to us for information, looking for viable information, reliable information, evidence-based information. Where can I find this information? Where is it taught? And they're just talking about it from a postgraduate standpoint. We would like for our elective courses to offer that same credibility. Needs analysis. It's pretty easy. It's either it comes down to, you know, we look at electives, do we need to do, you know, or not? You know, is this superfluous information or not? From an institutional point of view, again, sounds like I'm repeating myself, but it's the same type of thinking that goes into to meet the goals and missions of the institution. And I'll be hard-pressed to any elective to say no to. It's hard. I'll be hard-pressed to say if you present any elective that it will not meet this particular criteria, because it's new information. Sort of a thought pattern that I have, again, when you present electives to me, will the course provide content that's not currently offered in the curriculum? It could be some of the same information, but the majority of it has to be something that's not offered. It has to be redundant. Do we have the faculty available to teach this? Are they suitably credentialed? Have the expertise to teach this particular course as an elective? You know, a lot of you say, well, I want to teach this elective. Well, you know, what makes you the expert in this? Do you have the background and the training, the criteria to support that? To someone to come and say, well, you will have the credentials behind your name. Do you have the experience to teach it? You have to ask that for yourself. Will the course offerings generate student support? In other words, if you offer the course, will they come? You know, we have a threshold here that, what is 4? You have to have about 4 students to 5. Going once, going twice. Well, anyway, we have a threshold number of students that must be enrolled in a course in order for it to take off. We have to pay the instructors for their time. So you just can't have 1 student in your course. You know? So if you build it, will they come? That's why it has to be something that's attractive, something new, something they're going to enhance. You know, students that are looking for electives, they're looking for something that's going to enhance their skills, their knowledge, once they get out of here. From my point of view. Dr. Keenan, you had a question?
That was the first part of the question that I actually had, like how many bodies would elective. And, you know, like in some institutions, they will offer an elective once a year that, you know, in order to attract more people, and that for us that would mean spreading your symptoms over several trimesters.
Yeah, the DCP, as far as I know, we're the only professional program that requires a set number of elective hours. That's 3. ND, right? Fraser, do you require elective hours?
We don't require them right now.
AOM? No elective hours. So we're the only one that has prescriptive number of elective hours that are required for graduation. It's not on top of the core hours. It's part of the 248 hours. That's why it's important that we do develop electives that will attract the students, give them some different choices in selecting the courses, I think. So going forward, I think, I know I have a list in my office of approved electives right now. But as I looked at the list, if I were a student, what on this list would I be attracted to take? It's not a lot of electives on that list right now that would drive me to take it. So I would just, take something just to satisfy those 3 hours. So we have to make it attractive to our students. Any questions regarding that? I'm sure there's some other questions that you have to ask yourself, but those are the primary ones that I ask, especially number 1 and number 2. And number 3 has to be considered. And most of our electives, or not all of the electives, are taught in the evening, correct?
One or two at a time, an hour.
Yeah. So we have to make sure we have available space, because we're at the point where we're actually running out of space right now relative to where we can put different courses at any given time of day.
Yeah, just follow up on what Dr. Kino was asking. We have some electives that are offered once a year, some that are offered every other term, some that are offered each term. I think one of the things that's true is we don't have a schedule. We don't say to the students, this course is offered, and this will be offered next fall, this will be offered next summer, this will be offered here. So students can't really look ahead and know which elective is going to be offered each term. So they can't plan 2 or 3 semesters ahead for an elective. You have to kind of pick it up when you're ready and see what's available when you're ready at this point.
Yeah.
That was a kind of shortcoming to the way the system works.
Yeah, that's a good observation. Most of the electives, their ability to be offered is gauged on if enough students sign up for the particular elective. So they're not active every trimester the whole year. So it's contingent on the number of students that are enrolled in or sign up for the particular course. So that's a shortcoming, or something, again, we have to consider. But perhaps if we develop the right electives, they can generate students populate with students each and every trimester, and at least we'll know we'll have some set electives that will be offered every term. Hopefully, we'll get to that point. And again, straightforward with accreditation, relative accreditation, where the electives address the need to provide appropriate agency competency. Again, going back to the competencies, and when you're developing electives, you have to keep that in mind. Will the elective address 1 or more competencies? And also, for most electives, hopefully you'll be doing some type of assessment, whether it's a formal test, written test, or some type of other type of testing in this procedure. So we have to show that we're offering the competencies and we're assessing it. So that's part of it. Whether it's CCE, Naturopathy assessment group, AOM assessment group. So it's all.
Assessment wise, I think a lot of the electives you're thinking about will have a product or a a case study will be written or several, or a best evidence table will be developed. So
Yeah, the end product.
So the assessment of the end product.
Yeah, when you're developing your syllabi, you address the goals and objectives of the course. You outline those particularly, specifically, and identify where and how you will assess the students in that particular elective. From the professional standpoint, again, referring back to all these other external agencies, the need for the information. There's a need, great need, obviously, in our profession because we're relatively young in regard to research and publishing. So we can't overdo this thing, I don't think. We're relatively young, and as far as the chiropractic profession, naturopathy profession, AON profession, there's lots of holes out there, and there's lots of opportunities for all of us to contribute to the body of work that needs to go forward, right? I'm sure I can see the big brains out there, you're percolating with ideas. So now let's put it on some paper and give it a shot. You never know. And I'm sure, all the clinicians in the room, you're seeing all kinds of neat cases all the time coming through here. I know when I was a clinician, I used to see a lot of neat cases, and I was privileged to write up a couple. So you can do the same thing. You have some free workers at your disposal, your interns. You can get them involved with writing aspects of the paper, introduction, the case report, doing the grunt work for you, looking at the literature, retrieving the articles for you. So you don't have to do it all, but there's lots of opportunity from the clinical aspect to produce case studies. And we do need a lot of those. Okay. Any questions relative to professional aspects of the needs analysis? Again, outside agencies are coming to us all the time for this information. They want to know if it's taught, where it's taught, how much of it's taught, what textbooks are being used, what references you are using. So, okay, we may not have a strong offense, but somebody does. Whether you're a fan or not, you gotta like it. I'm a Cowboys fan, so go figure, right? Wearing my Cowboy colors. But anyway, we do have a strong offense at National. We do. We have all the players that we need. We've identified the quarterback. We know who that is. All we got to do is run the offense the way it's supposed to be run, effectively and efficiently, and we'll get the job done. Ending with our motto, to be rather than to seem to be. Thank you.